Today I'm going to share with you how to add a building, like a type of a structure, into a GameMaker game. Now, to illustrate, so I have this basic room that I've built right here, and I have some buildings as you can see right here. So we got one here and one here, and I would like to add another building there. So I'm just going to share with you the basics on how to do that. First thing we need to do is we need to find the graphic that we're going to use for the building. So I have these basic graphics right here, and I'm just going to choose one of them. I'm using Photoshop here, so you can use like any type of image editor that you'd like to use. So let me reposition that to get a better image of what we're doing. So ideally I would like to use this building, but I'm going to adjust it a little bit. So I'm going to show you how to do that. The first thing we're going to do here when it comes to this building is I would crop it. Of course there are different ways to do this, but that's just the way I'm going to be doing it. So I'm going to crop it right like this, and then I'm going to save it. Of course I already have it, but I'm just showing you again how to do it. So let's just call it SBR underscore blue room. So when it comes to buildings, because as you might know, GameMaker Studio, in GameMaker Studio you cannot have like two assets with the same name. So for sprites I use SBR, and for objects I use OBJ. That way you can keep the same kind of like name. So it'll be easier, much easier for you to find the asset that you're looking for in case you need it in the future. So I'm just going to save that as PNG. Of course says it already exists because I've already done it. I'm just doing this to show you again how to do it. And yeah, so now it's saved. So now let's try to import it to GameMaker. Now importing assets is pretty easy and straightforward. All you have to do is just, let's refresh this, and then you go to wherever the asset is, and you just drag and drop it to the sprite section. Now as you can see, I color labeled my sections here in GameMaker. I think it makes things a whole lot easier visually. And the way to do this, you just right click and then you choose whatever color label. So I have green for sprites. I don't know, maybe because it reminds me of Sprite the drink. And I have blue for objects, and I also have like other color labels for other sections. Now we have this already. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to edit it a little bit because I don't think I want to use it as it is. So you can go here and click edit image, and I'm just going to change a few things. So GameMaker has this basic image editor. It's not as good as Photoshop, but I actually realized that when it comes to some functions, to me it's actually better. But I don't know, I'm not that advanced in Photoshop. I don't know if it has those or not. Like for example, there's this color replace tool that you have here, and basically if you want to change the color of this like to something else, you just pick the color and click this, and then you can just click and it'll just replace everything that shares the same color profile. I find this pretty cool. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do here. First thing is, let's see, I want to change this a little bit. So I'm just gonna copy this section and then place it right here because I don't like to have this in my building wherever it's gonna appear. So I just want it to be plain and simple, and we're gonna do the same thing here and here for these parts. Alright, that's good. Let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, that looks good. So now I'm gonna take this whole section right here, I'm going to copy it, and then you can just place it here. Of course you can do the same stuff in Photoshop, but as I said, I just find it some things I find it easier to do like here. straight from the editor. I don't know if Unity has that or not, but for me, I like this. Like, I think it makes things much easier. So I'm just gonna do the same thing here. Okay, there you go. I'm gonna do this here and here, and maybe once more here. Okay, that looks good. Now, doesn't really matter much how the lower part of this would look, because as you'll see, it's going to be covered by trees. So let's see if we can actually, never mind, no, we're not going to do that. I think that may be okay. There's one way to find out, which is to try to place it. Now, if you want to create this actual structure here, you need to have it as an object. So, of course, there might be other ways to do it. Actually, there are other ways to do it. You can do it as tiles or something like that, like tile sets. But for this case, I'm just going to do a regular object. So, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to objects that I already have, which, as you'll see, replicating things in GameMaker can make things a whole lot faster. It can save you a lot of time. So I'm just going to go to something that looks kind of like roughly similar to this building. See, like this is just like facing the back, which is kind of like how I would like my building to be. So I'm just going to go here and I'm going to duplicate this. And for this, I'm just going to call it obj underscore blue room. So as you'll see here, it's not going to affect the naming because the other one is called SBR underscore blue room. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to change this sprite for it. So we're just going to go and search for SBR underscore blue room. Here we go. We're just going to drag this and drop it right here, and voila, we just have us a building right here. I mean, a full object asset. So now let's go to the place itself, the forest, which is where we need to place this. So we'll just go back to obj underscore blue room, which is right here. Now, I try to have things organized a bit, so I just created this section. I called it shops, but it'll be like a general thing for like general buildings. So I'm just going to drag this and drop it right here. And then I can just resize it, kind of like this. Let's see if we can make it look better. I mean, it's not going to look perfect. Actually, it's never gonna look perfect, especially if you're a perfectionist. Then there will be many things that you're just never gonna be satisfied, because as they say, projects are never finished, they're abandoned. Okay, so we have this right here, and what I'm gonna do, because I don't like this to show, because ideally I would like the entrance to be from the front side. So what I'm gonna do, okay, actually what's happening here, because we edited this and it's just not showing what we edited. So let's find out what's going on. So let's go here, let's go find the SBR underscore blue room. I see. We edited the copy. Okay, so I'm glad we had this, because I'm going to show you how to. I mean, there are multiple ways to do this. You can try to re-edit this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something simple right here. I'm going to go to here and I'm going to change the name for this to something like Blue Room 888, and then I'm going to go to this one, the one with the 421, the one that was edited, and I'm just simply going to change the name to SBR Blue Room. So now when it calls that, if we go back to the forest, let's go to the object too, to see if we can change that. obj underscore blue room. And of course now it's going to have that, so just going to go to SBR underscore blue room, and we're going to change that sprite. We're going to add it here. So now if we go to the forest, as we'll see here, it's already changed. It's been replaced with the one that we edited. So I'm just going to reposition it just a tad bit more right here. Maybe something like this. Okay, so now I would like to cover this section, or basically that green section, with some trees. So I'm going to go to where it says trees trunkless. And let's see, maybe I'll copy one of these, just copy and paste it, and then we can like try to put one just right here. Yeah, I think that works just fine. Now, before we try this, let's get back to the building itself, because I want to show you something right here. Now, you may or may not be familiar with like layering in GameMaker, and depth and all that, but I would like it to be, because as you can see here, this is supposed to be a road. Okay, let's get closer. So this is supposed to be a road. So I'd ideally like my player, when he walks here, I don't want him to hit this, and I don't want him to go over it, because we're trying to create kind of like a 3D sort of atmosphere, 3D feel. So I would like the player to go right under it, under the thing. But I don't want it to go like under it as if it was like if the building was floating above the player. No, I want it to stop where, roughly around here, where the building entrance, the building door, is supposed to be located. Now, this may be already set because I'm just kind of like replicating things, but I'm just going to show you if you're interested in how to do this. So if you go here to edit object, and then you go here, you can just edit the sprite directly from the object. So you can click here, and then here where it says collision mask, yeah, see, so now the collision mask is actually automatic. So that means that the player will just hit this kind of like as if it was laying on in the same level as the player. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to manual, and then I'm going to take this and bring it sort of to around maybe here, or yeah, let's do it maybe about here. So this is where player is supposed to stop. Of course, you have to have your collision already set, because here, if we look at this right here, let me show you this real quick. Yeah. So I already have a parent which already has the collision set up. So it's not going to work automatically. You have to set collisions first, and this video does not cover those parts. But if you already have your collision set, then you just need to adjust this. Now, let's see if this works. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring my player, and to make things easier, what I'm going to do is, say, where are we? There's a big forest right here. Okay. Gonna drag this to somewhere around that house. Ah, okay. Now, this is something that you'll notice as you work with GameMaker. Sometimes when you change the collision the collision settings, then sometimes the building just moves around. I'm not sure if this is what happened, or maybe I just highlighted both, but anyways, it's not that big a deal. Just go here, click that, and you just drag it back to where it was. Okay, somewhere around here. Okay, that should be good. Now we're going to save everything, and we're going to run the game to see if this works. It may take some time depending on your processing speed of your computer. But yeah, the faster you would, or the more you do things in GameMaker, the faster you'll get at it, because you'll be able to simply replicate things. Even when you're adding new assets, you can just use like something like a prefab. I don't know if you're familiar with Unity, but it's kind of like, I think about it more like prefabs, pre-built assets that you can just simply tweak, change the sprite, tweak it a little bit, and then you can just reuse it in other parts of your game. I like it when it gets to this part right here. It means that it's just the game is gonna run, hopefully with no errors, because usually if there is an error and the game wouldn't run, it would not make it to this part. Now here I'm running for HTML5. You need to be very careful with that, because it's like a whole different world from Windows. So when I first done the first chapter of my game, I just done it for Windows, and then when I want to transfer to HTML5, things got messed up, and I spent like, I don't know, maybe months trying to fix things. Anyways, okay, so here it's like this is what I was talking about when it comes to depth, like depth sorting. When you go under, when you walk here, it'll make it seem like you're actually walking under the tree. So I want to do this, trying to achieve the same thing for the house. So yeah, see, it works here. So, but at the same time, like if you get here, you'll just stop. You'll not be able to go any further, which means that you basically reached the entrance of the building. So it may not look like perfect. I think there'll always be things to improve. But yeah, that's basically what we're trying to achieve, and we already achieved it. Now I hope you'll learn something from this video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Take care and good luck finishing your game.